The Vegas Golden Knights are still one game away, one win away from the Stanley Cup Final after holding a 3-0 lead. Chris Gawlik of Locked On VGK joins us to discuss what's changed in the series and what the Golden Knights need to do to finish it off. All that and more on today's Locked On NHL podcast.
You're Locked On NHL, your daily podcast on the National Hockey League. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome, everybody, to the Monday edition of the Locked On NHL podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Want to thank everyone for making Locked On NHL your first listen every day. And don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast to get the latest episodes before they drop. And we are also available now on SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just do a search for Locked On NHL. It is my pleasure to welcome back to the program Chris Gawlik of Locked On VGK. And Chris, great start to the series, up 3-0. Struggled the last 2 games. It's now going back to Dallas for Game 6. What was the big difference between the first 3 games and the last 2 for the Vegas Golden Knights?
Turnovers. Bruce Cassidy in his post-game press conference after Game 5, his quote was, "You cannot turn the puck over 24 times and expect to win a hockey game." The exact quote, or close to it, was, "You're not going to beat the Arizona Coyotes in January when you turn the puck over 24 times, let alone the Dallas Stars, in basically June." So that's the first thing. And I think you have to start by giving credit to the Dallas Stars for 2 desperate victories and a real nice, what I felt, in-game adjustment to step up their forecheck and keep the Golden Knights kind of on their heels and unable to get those clean exits and those quick transitions that they've been known for these playoffs.
So, okay, this is a chess match, obviously. Dallas adjusts their forecheck. How does VGK respond to get the advantage back?
So there's a couple of things there, and this is basically just kind of regurgitating what Cassidy was saying. I mean, you got to be responsible in your zone first. You got to have, who's ever making that first pass has to have a couple of options first and foremost. If Dallas has one option covered, there better be another option. You start there. And it also goes to playing a cleaner game on the offensive side of the puck, so you're not burning as much energy playing defense, getting pucks deep, chipping them deep, and winning those board battles in the corners. So, when the puck is on the other side of the ice, that the team on that side is burning energy. So that's probably a big part of it, but it's just really about cleaning up their game right now. It's just what it comes down to.
And is there a player or 2 or 3 players who you feel would be the big key to making that, be the catalyst to making those changes?
I mean, on the defensive side, at times, listen, Alec Martinez and Pietrangelo, they are the rocks of our defense. They are the ones who are going to be out there in the most stressful of situations. And at times, when you're watching some of the goals, like the goal that Jason Robertson got in Game 4 from the puck that bounced off the back of the boards, Alec Martinez kind of had his back to him. I'm not blaming Martinez. It's just kind of one of those weird plays. One of the VGK players that does drive me nuts, I mean, Whitecloud had a real bad turnover that led to the 4th Dallas Stars goal on Saturday nights. But Brandon McNabb, he's someone who isn't playing a very clean game in the defensive zone, unfortunately. So, it definitely starts with someone like that cleaning up their game, and then it all kind of comes from there. Nick Hague and Zach Whitecloud, outside of Whitecloud's one bad turnover, unfortunately, they've played very responsibly. Martinez and Pietrangelo, I mean, Pietrangelo, you haven't seen a whole lot. He had a power play goal in Game 3, but we haven't seen a whole lot from him. So, we're going to put a lot of this on the defense right now to keep it clean and hopefully give Aiden Hill a little bit of an easier ride. Man, he had a lot of pressure on Saturday.
Yeah, no question. How do you feel VGK is handling the pressure of, losing the last 2 games, having to go back to Dallas? And would that pressure be even bigger if it goes back to Vegas for Game 7?
No. I say this because um, one of the games where I had my media credentials for, I asked Alex Pietrangelo. I think they had just lost like a bad game to the Sharks, and things in the middle of the season were just not spiraling, but just a couple rough games. And I said, hey, what's the vibe right now with the guys? Like, is there panic? Is there concern? Is this the time where someone gets up on the chair and makes one of those speeches? And basically, he kind of shunned me off, said, we're going to come back and go to work tomorrow. We're going to fix this. And he dismissed it very quickly. But it didn't come across as, I mean, you've been around, Gil. You know how these guys are sometimes. There are some athletes that give you much better answers, and there are some athletes that just kind of, it was a good game, it was a good team game, and they go to the next question, and they kind of, BS their way through it, so to speak. But that's what I thought I was getting from Pietrangelo. But then you watch the response, and he's been there before. He's won a Stanley Cup. He's been deep in the playoffs. He's had, series go both ways. I believe the Blues came back against Cassidy and the Bruins from a 3-1 deficit to win the Stanley Cup. Don't quote me 100%, but I think that's how that one shook out. I know at least the Bruins were up 3-2 in that series, and might have been the other way around. Either way, point being, he's been here before, as I'm rambling on and on in our short segment here, as Alec Martinez has been there before. Mark Stone's been there on the Vegas side before now. Jonathan Quick not playing in the playoffs, but he's backing up. He is helping Aiden Hill and Brossoit when he was in there, and the other players. So there is so much veteran leadership on this team where I don't think there is any level of panic. Is there some concern? Of course. I mean, that's human nature. But at the end of the day, I think two things. One, you have enough vets in this lineup where they're going to keep everybody calm. Cassidy's been around the block a few times as well. And number two, you just got to look at the odds here. 4 times since the 7-game series, playoff format started, going back to 1942, I believe is the first time the reverse sweep happened. And then only 3 more times since then. Now, I think it's happened also twice since 2010, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe it's happening a little more frequently, but I'm pretty confident, not as confident as I was, obviously, but just give Dallas credit. Like, they're not going to roll over and die. They're playing with house money right now. They got nothing to lose if they lay an egg right now, and they have everything to gain if it goes well. So they're playing loose, they're playing relaxed, and Vegas is playing a little tight right now.
Talk to me about Aiden Hill. He's been so good throughout these playoffs, and I can't say I blame the loss in Game 5 on him.
Oh God, no. The only goal in that game that looked a little rough was, I believe I don't know if it was Delandria's goal, but it was the third goal where it looked like just kind of a nothing shots. But then when you watch the replay, it did deflect off Pietrangelo's stick. And listen, it's hard enough to stop a 90-mile-an-hour puck. Now when you have a split second less to react, unless it hits you, you got no shot at that. So the fourth goal he got pushed into. I mean, Aiden Hill was phenomenal. He had, I mean, I don't know if ESPN is even acknowledging hockey in their top 10 anymore, but I feel like he should have had the at least a play in the top 5 for that save coming across the crease as the stick came out of his hands. And there was another save early in the game that was remarkable. I mean, listen, since he came in basically cold, I want to say in Game 3 of the Oilers series, he has just been remarkable. You haven't heard Cassidy, make a comment like in the regular season, oh, if we just had that one more save, we would have had a better game. It's not like that at all. The team is rallying around him, just like they rallied around Laurent Brossoit. And, we'll see. I mean, listen, the way things are going, Jonathan Quick might draw and Aiden Hill might get hurt again. So who knows? And if that's the case, we might be coming on Wednesday or Thursday for a strange midweek show.
Yeah, that would be a different twist for sure. Chris, why don't you tell our viewers and our listeners where they could find you on social media and where they could find the podcast?
I like how you didn't put Tony in there this time. Now you can find me on Twitter at TD Christie. That's like touchdown, TD Christie. Locked On Vegas Golden Knights on YouTube. Please go there and subscribe. The numbers are really going up right now, and we really appreciate that. But if you got a second for us, definitely subscribe. Give us a couple likes if you don't mind as well. And of course, anywhere you find your podcasts, simply search us, and bam, there we are.
All right, Chris, always a pleasure, and thanks for stopping by.
Thank you. Have a great night. Hopefully we'll see you soon talking about a Western Conference victory.
Today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. For a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. Well, it's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can be sure every part you need fits right the first time around. Just add your ride to My Garage and look for the green check to know the part will fit or your money back. Because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop on eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. So get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. eBay Guaranteed Fit, available to U.S. customers only. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.